What a Premier League season it has been. One hell of a Premier League season. What a roller coaster. What ups, what downs, what twists, what turns. I mean, bloody hell. Hey guys, good evening. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope everyone's had a great Sunday evening. Hope everyone's had a great weekend. And I hope you're all looking forward to the rest of this brand new week coming up in May 2023 this year. First of all, do me a massive favour, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. That is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. Then to share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember to always put the notification bell on all times as well to read devastated content right for the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, FIFA 23 Career Mode, Football Manager, Rocket League, and much more brand new stuff planned for the rest of this year in 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe if you're new. Good evening to all you legends. Good evening to all you legendary people, and welcome back to the channel and welcome to the reaction, the Premier League reaction between Manchester United and Fulham on the final day of the 2022-2023 Premier League season. Match day 38, Old Trafford, 4:30 p.m. home evening kickoff on the final day of the Premier League season, finishing Manchester United 2, Fulham 1, thanks to Bruno Fernandes' late second half winner to seal the win, seal the 3 points, bring a curtain down on Old Trafford, making it 4 wins in a row in our last 4 Premier League games against Wolves, Bournemouth, Chelsea, and now Fulham. The curtain comes down on this Premier League season for Manchester United. We have secured third place. We have finished third in the 2022-2023 Premier League season. And what a hell of a season it has been for Manchester United in this Premier League campaign. Thank God for Bruno Fernandes. Thank God for Jadon Sancho today for getting both of our goals to help us win the game. Obviously, going 1-0 down to Fulham early on through a Tete header was a bit of a disaster, was a bit of a wake-up call for Manchester United today after the humbling we gave Chelsea last Thursday evening on matchday 37 of the Premier League season. Obviously, Sancho to find the equaliser, and then Bruno Fernandes, yet again, our captain, our leader, our role model, our inspiration, our Portuguese Magnifico, to find the late winner in the second half on the 55th minute. Thank God we won the game today. Thank God we got the 3 points. And you know what? Finishing third in the Premier League, I'll take it this season. It has been one hell of a season. It's been a roller coaster. There's been so many ups, so many downs, so many twists, so many turns for this football club, for this team, for the players, for the squad, for the manager, for the coaches, for the fans, for the supporters. It's been one of those Premier League seasons that I think has probably been one of the craziest Premier League seasons I've ever seen Manchester United in. It's been so chaotic all season. And for this football club to finish third, Champions League football, Carabao Cup winners, and only one match to go now, which is the FA Cup final against Manchester City next Saturday afternoon. It's been a crazy, crazy season. And I think Man United again today showed that the fight is back, the determination is back, the heart is back, the commitment is back in those players. There's a lot more fight, there's a lot more passion, there's a lot more desire from these players, from the team, from the squad, from the decent manager with proper tactics, proper customization and proper organisation of a team that last season was one of the worst Premier League teams in Premier League history. After the way we played last season, we were a joke, we were a mess, we were a laughingstock, we were a joke. We were utterly all over the place in that Premier League campaign last season at Manchester United. And the miracle work this manager in Eriksen has done in one season in the Premier League to get Manchester United back into the top 4, Champions League qualification for next season, Carabao Cup winners. This season has to go down as probably a successful season. I think finishing third is about right for this club. Obviously, we have massively overachieved this season. We have achieved, a lot of difference, a lot of inequality. We've achieved a lot more than what I thought we would do under Eriksen. And I think the job he's done in season 1 has been nothing more than miraculous. I think if you're looking at it on paper, if someone told me we would finish third in the Premier League, Carabao Cup winners, and we're an FA Cup final next Saturday, I would have bitten your hand off. I would have taken that in a heartbeat. And I think, this season, I think in the end, we do deserve it. I think this season, we've been the better team. We've been the better squad. We've had the better players. We've had the better manager. And I think as an overall package, we deserve Champions League football. We deserve to be back in Europe's elite competition. We deserve to have won the Carabao Cup. And I think finishing third this season over Newcastle has been something more than a dream. I think obviously Newcastle, in the last few games of the season were way above Manchester United on points and goal difference. But to finish above Newcastle and, get within 9 points of Man City, it's not bad, is it? It's really, really a not bad stat that, we weren't very far off in the end. And I think Man United, the rebuild we had in the summer and obviously the down spiral of the January transfer window has put Manchester United in this situation today. And I think we've got to be very, very thankful that those players, again, have shown up. They came from behind and won the game. I think if this was Solskjaer or Ralph Rangnick in charge, we probably would have lost the game today. We probably wouldn't have found the win. We would have probably ended up finishing fourth. And Newcastle probably would have ended up finishing above Man United in third in the Premier League table. And I think, finishing third is an extra spot of easier qualification for the Champions League format, which has been completely regenerised in the new season, which can be a completely and utterly different format. It's more money into the back pockets of the football club. Hopefully, that money will go into the football club instead of the greedy owners in the Glazers' back pockets. And hopefully next season, this club can now push on. Hopefully next season, we have got top four nailed on. Hopefully we can stay there next season, and hopefully next season as well, we can be in a Premier League title race. I think this Premier League season, if we're looking at it from a whole, we have to be very, very thankful for what the job our manager's done. I think Erik ten Hag came into this job in the summer, and I didn't think he expected it to be as hard as what he thought it was going to be. And I think Erik ten Hag found out very early on in the Premier League that losing at home to Brighton and then getting annihilated away to Brentford, that was the last straw for Ten Hag with a lot of these players, with a lot of this squad and a lot of the Deadwood players that were in this team. And I think it gave Ten Hag a massive wake-up call in those first two games of the Premier League season, where Man United, at point of the start of the season, we were rock bottom of the Premier League. 0 points, and we were absolutely nowhere near where we should have been. We were nowhere near where we should have been at the start of the season. We should have really have found the points at the start. We should have had 6 points out of 6. And we really, a bigger point of view, we should have been competing for trophies on all fronts this season. And it hasn't happened. I think Man United have got to count themselves lucky we aren't back in Europa League. I think we've got to count ourselves lucky that we didn't end up back in the UEFA Conference League this season, or ended up even back in Europa League. I think Man United are going to have to count themselves very lucky they have got themselves into the position that they have today, and that is you are a Champions League club again. You're at Europe's top table. You're in Europe's elite competition for next season, and you've got to be very, very thankful for the job Ten Hag has worked. I think he's got to count himself very, very lucky that, Ten Hag has turned this season around, that no other Man United fan, including myself, expected to be where we are today. I expected Manchester United really on a bigger point of view, not even to be anywhere near top four. I didn't expect Champions League qualification. I didn't expect many trophies to be won in season one. But I think after that wake-up call against Brighton and Brentford at the start of the season, Ten Hag knew that he needed more investment. He knew he needed more players, and he knew the players he had available to him were simply not up to the task. They weren't up to the level, and we were missing so much quality out that midfield, out of that attack, also the defence and the back four and the goalkeeping situation. And it gave that club a massive kick up the backside. If you think also the other top six, the top five clubs in the Premier League, we have beaten every single one of them at home this season, which in my opinion has been nothing more than a turnaround in mixed fortune. That we have to count ourselves very lucky that, we have finished with the most unbeaten home record in Premier League history. 29 games at home unbeaten this season has been a massive turnaround. That Old Trafford is becoming once again a fortress. We are making Old Trafford our home again, and we are bringing the fear factor back. The fear is coming back into the opposition teams, that they know Manchester United are on their way back. They know the fight that they're bringing now, and they know what they're bringing to the table. And teams next season who are going to come up to the Prem in Luton Town, Sheffield United and Burnley, they know the task at hand is next season they are going to have to come to Old Trafford. The task is going to be difficult. I think every Premier League club now that are still in the league this season are going to look at next season, and they know Manchester United are going to go again, because now the investment is going to be there. The money's going to be there, hopefully in the summer transfer window. and hopefully Man United are going to spend a shitload of money this summer to improve the current squad. I think, if the rumours are true that the Qataris are going to go back in again with another higher bid to get this club and purchasing over the line, we've got to encourage the Qataris, and I am pleading that the Qataris come and buy this football club, because I don't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe anywhere near this club. I don't want him buying it. I don't want him purchasing the club, because I think Man United will go 10 times backwards under his clueless Muppet Glazer ownership style, that he's wanting to keep the Glazers and only wanting to buy a certain percentage of the football club. I don't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe the Rat anywhere near Manchester United Football Club in the summer. Don't let his bid be successful. We have to protest now. We have to put more pressure on the Glazers, and ahead of that FA Cup final, we need to go. We know we need to go full throttle now. We do not want the Glazers here. We don't want the Sir Jim Ratcliffe here, the Rat either. We need the Qataris, and I'm pleading with them, please come and save the football club, because this is the only way we are going to find ourselves back at Europe's elite as one of the best teams in world football and global football as well. We need the Qataris. That is the only way Manchester United will win trophies next season. They're the only survival this club can have, and they've got shitloads of money that they'll chuck at the team. They'll chuck on new players, and they'll back Ten Hag every single player that he wants. I think all the financial fair play issues that are being absolutely wide of the mark speculation by blue tick people on Twitter, like Duncan Castles, Simon Stone, I think that Laurie there's a lot of those blue tick people who are employed by Manchester United Football Club to be the Glazer PR joke team. They're all clowns. They're wanting their jobs to be protected because they know they have to feed lies. They know they have to feed absolute bullshit, and they have to feed absolute crap out on social media to make the Man United fan base and the Manchester United supporters to fall for it. I don't believe all the speculation that Manchester United are struggling. If Man United are struggling, I honestly do not think we would have been in the position that we are in today. Money is there to spend in the summer. As I've been told by several different people and several different sources, Manchester United have got the money to spend in the summer. They've got the money to improve the squad. They've got money to buy new players. A lot of this deadwood have played their last ever game for the club today. And I think we're now going to start being even more ruthless in the summer. I expect now, after winning this Premier League game, a lot of those players that play today and a lot of them that are left on the bench will no longer be at the club. And I think that is rueful but brutal and honest as well. I think that time is coming. That time is changing now. I do believe Manchester United under Erik ten Hag, after what we've seen in this Premier League season, are finally heading in the right direction. I do believe next season is going to be bigger and better for the fan base and the supporters. I applaud every single Man United fan. I applaud every single Manchester United supporter. I applaud every single one of you for all the ups, downs, twists and turns we've all had to go through and experience this season. It's been one crazy ride with Manchester United Football Club, but I applaud every single one of you. You're all amazing people. You're all legendary. You're all legends. And I appreciate all the support. Everybody has stood by each other this season. All the support we have gave to everyone in this fan base that we all love and adore, especially when we stand by this football club. We have stood by this club through thick and thin this season. All the ups and downs we've seen in results in the league, in the cup competitions, in the Europa League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Premier League, and the Europa League as well. This fan base has stood by each other every step of the way, and that is what I love about Manchester United Football Club. This fan base this season has been something miraculous. It's been special. There's been support there. There is kindness there. There's a lot more love towards each other now, because I think last season the whole fan base and supporters were so disconnected from each other, and that was down to clueless owners, a muppet of a board. We had managers that had no clue what to do. We had players that didn't give a shit, and we had a squad that was completely and utterly on its knees because of the shattered confidence, the shattered commitment. There was no heart to try and win a game. There was no fight to try and win any results or any trophies last season. And I think Ten Hag has come in. He's read the riot act. He's not taking any bullshit. He's not going to take any excuse. And I think he knew the job he had at the start of the season. He knew it was a big job, but it only got harder after what we experienced in our first two Premier League games. And someone told me after what we saw in those first two games that Man United would be bottom and potentially fighting relegation and then ending up in top four. in UEFA Champions League places, I honestly would not have expected Man United to finish where we have finished today. But it's down to our luck. It's down to our home results. The home form has been incredible this season, beating the other top 5 clubs in the Premier League this season in Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal and Spurs. I didn't expect Manchester United to even do that this season, knowing what happened last season. But it does prove that Erik ten Hag is a better manager than Jurgen Klopp. He's a better manager than Arteta. He's a better manager than Lampard and Thomas Tuchel and Graham Potter. He's a better manager than Pep Guardiola. He's a better manager than Jose Mourinho and Ryan Mason and Antonio Conte. I think Erik ten Hag this season has been a better manager, has been more successful than any of the other top 5 clubs around us. We've actually won trophies. I don't see Spurs winning. I don't see Chelsea winning. I don't see Liverpool winning. Arsenal have won fuck all again. And the Manchester side in Manchester City and Manchester United have run away with the success this season. Both clubs have won trophies. Both clubs have won titles. And both of them are setting the standards. Both of those clubs are now the most successful 2 clubs in English football of all time ever, in my opinion. And I think Man United know that he had to go head to toe with every other club at home. And I didn't expect those results. I did expect to beat the other top 5 clubs. And I think our home record, 29 games at home, unbeaten all season, is a record for this football club. If you would have said that to me, if we would have stuck with Solskjaer or Ralph Rangnick, I honestly wouldn't have said we are not going to do that. We are going to drop even more points in several different games. And I expected to drop points at home to mid-table teams that Man United on paper really should have been beating. And I think this season in the Premier League, we've stepped up massively. We knew the fight was there. And I think what came to Man United's advantage is that Liverpool this season have been embarrassing. Chelsea have been a laughingstock. Spurs are even worse. Arsenal bottled another league title, another trophyless season from Arteta and co. at Arsenal. The Amazon Prime documentary story of Arsenal all for nothing yet again, don't win trophies, don't win titles, and basically think they're back to their best under Arteta. Basically, Arsenal are just a B-Tech version of Tottenham. They're both the same club. They don't win trophies and basically think both of them are better than Manchester United. And if you look at Chelsea, the managerial situation, you sacked Thomas Tuchel, you then brought Graham Potter in, you sacked him, you then brought Lampard in, an ex-legend apparently of the club, who basically flopped at Derby, flopped at Chelsea in season 2, ended up getting sacked. They then brought him back again this season as the caretaker manager to get the club to the end of the season. And look where all 3 of those clubs are compared to Manchester United this season. Chelsea and Tottenham are nowhere near top 4. Both of them failed to qualify for Europe altogether. Spurs only finished 8th, Chelsea 12th, Liverpool 5th. We ended up finishing 8 points clear of Liverpool. If someone said, would you take that at the start of the season? I probably think I would have. I did not expect Man United to be a top 4 contender. I didn't expect us to be a top 4 team. And I expected us to end up in Europa League again. And I think, you know what? We at the start of the season, I think we probably would have took it in the end. I think the fan base and the supporters knew that we didn't expect to see the start of the season we were anticipated. We didn't see the start we were all looking at. And unfortunately, if we would have won our first 2 games at the start of the season, I think Manchester United probably would have ended up in the title race. But what has been the biggest downfall this season is our away record. Let's not beat around the bush about it. Our away record this season in the Prem has been utterly shocking. Away from home, we've only beaten teams like Leicester, Everton, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, Leeds, Southampton. We've not beaten a lot of the away record this season that what I wanted. We failed to beat Brighton, Brentford away from home, West Ham, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Spurs. We basically failed to pick up so many points away from home. If we would have done that and kept our home record the way we've got it today, I seriously think United might have won the Premier League this season. It is saying a lot. It is trying to get a lot from these players and it's trying to get this team fighting on all fronts. But I think, the players in the end, they did run out of gas. They did run out of energy. But that is down to, I think, for me, in my opinion, pure laziness. I think if you're a Manchester United player, you're representing the club, you're representing the shirt, you're representing the fans and supporters. You've got a manager to represent and and try and be impressed by. And I think those players have used a lot of excuses again this season to get away with a lot of poor performances, a lot of drop points we should have won games from. And I think our away record, if we would have beaten all the other top 5 clubs in England this season away from home, Man United seriously might have won the Premier League. But due to the slip-ups on more than one occasion, we got nowhere near in the end. And we were so close at one point to Man City and Arsenal. And unfortunately, the cracks started to appear. The down performance, the down tooling started to regenerate in certain games. But I think in the end as a whole, winning our last 4 Premier League games in a row, 12 points out of 12, 4 wins in a row in the Premier League, and to end the Premier League season with a win at Old Trafford, back-to-back home wins. We've scored, 6 goals in our last 2 games. We've only conceded 2. I think is a massive positive. I think, we need to start keeping more clean sheets next season. We need to tie up our defence. Our midfield, it needs to be completely regenerated again next season. The attack needs massive reinforcements this summer. And I think Man United are going to have to spend at least in excess of 500 to 600 million in the summer. People tell me that is massively unrealistic. Man United haven't got the money to spend that, like what Chelsea did in the summer. I've been told by 3 or 4 different sources, because I am on Twitter, I'm also on TikTok, so go and give me a follow on both of those social medias. Go and add me and go and give me a follow, and then obviously please subscribe to the channel if you are new as well on YouTube. We are so close to 670 subscribers, so please keep subscribing if you're new. I've been told by several different people that Man United have got a budget of nearly 500 million euros to spend in the summer on player recruitment plus player sales. So there's no reason why not Man United don't go massively overboard and spend 500 to 600 million. They've got to do it. The only answer is to spend money to fix the problem. Man United have got to recruit the best this summer. We've got to rebuild this squad. The players need a kick again next season. The standards need to keep being up here. We need to target prolific goal scorers. Our midfield, we need world beaters in that midfield to go with Eriksen, Fernandes, Casemiro. I think the addition of Sabitzer should be a permanent signing in the summer. I think Manchester United would be making a massive mistake by not signing Marcel Sabitzer permanently in the summer. Yes, he's had his injury problems, but he's had a lot less injury problems than what Bastian Schweinsteiger had at Manchester United when we brought him from Bayern Munich. Schweinsteiger's injuries at Man United were a lot worse than what Sabitzer's had all season. And I think adding Sabitzer in that midfield, if you then bring Mason Mount in, with the rumours are true that Man United are going to spend 60 odd million on a lamppost and Mason Mount because he's mounted to the pavement, I think, that would be a massive mistake. I don't rate Mason Mount. I don't rate the hype. I basically don't hype him at all. I think, Mason Mount as a player isn't any good enough. I think he's just a B-Tech version of Scott McTominay. I think if we do buy Mason Mount, the only thing I would say is this a board signing, is this a manager signing, or is this basically the Glazers accepting Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid to buy the club and the Qataris don't buy and they fail? But I'm telling you now, if we sign Mason Mount, I'm not going to back the signing. I'm not going to back the player. And I think it's a massive mistake for Man United to spend any more than 40 odd million on Mason Mount. I think if we can get him for 40, 45, I would take it, because I think then Sabitzer is then going to cost you money. If then the addition of Adrien Rabiot on a free transfer as well, if that's what the manager wants, you have to back him in the summer. 500 to 600 million has to be given in a war chest this summer to spend on this squad to improve the team. It's going to take that amount of money to spend in the summer. People have told me they can't do it. Man United are restricted to what they can do and what they can. It's a load of bollocks. Don't believe all the lies and all the false information you are being fed on Twitter, because there's a lot of bullshit being made up. There's a lot of people who think they're in the know, and there's a lot of people who think they're better than everyone else, feeding lies out to the fan base and supporters to basically get them on side. This Premier League season would have been a lot different if they would have gotten a Darwin Núñez, a Frimpong at right back. I think if he would have then got Gakpo, João Felix. There are so many players that this manager wanted, even Frankie de Jong. If Man United would have delivered all of those players to this manager this Premier League season, I think this season could have been a lot different with the players if they had been delivered to the manager. Look where we could have been. It's like that game show Bullseye. Look what you could have won with the additions the manager wanted. And I think that's got to be the answer in the summer. You have got to give the manager what he wants. There's the only way Man United get top 4 next season in the league. That's the only reason we need to get back into the Champions League, and we need to get in a title race. We do not want to be turning into Arsenal. We don't want to be settling for top 4 every season. We don't want to be one of those teams that, top 4 in a trophy is okay. At least we're in the Champions League again a year after. I completely, again, utterly disagree. As a club like Manchester United, you need to be fighting on full fronts. You need to be in a title race. You need to be winning a trophy, and you need to be winning the Premier League. It's been 10 years now since we last won the Premier League title, and it's been way too long enough without it. Not having that Premier League trophy in the cabinet, it hurts. Of course it does. We hate seeing Man City lift that bloody trophy, especially when they pay half their fan base just to fill their seats at the Etihad. I'm not being disrespectful, but that shows a lot from Manchester City, who basically have to pay their fans just to get bums on seats at the Etihad to fill their stadium up. Otherwise, Man City would have a half-empty stadium. And especially when you see them celebrating when they lifted the Premier League title against Chelsea at home, and then you see all those fans invading the pitch, and it's like, you've won the league 2 or 3 games before, and now you're invading the pitch. So I can't really justify Manchester City doing that. I can't justify that they basically go massively overboard when they won the league. Manchester City, years and years and years ago, were known as nothing. They were a banter club. They were a joke. And in the 90s and the 80s, Manchester City were fighting relegation in the Football League. And basically, Man City have chucked money at the problem and have fixed everything. Proper manager, proper owner, proper players, and a team that are fighting on, especially when you look at the quality of the bench, you look at the quality of Pep Guardiola. That is what Manchester United have got to turn into in next season's Premier League. We have to go full guns blazing again next season. Next season is going to be a lot more different, because this season alone has been one of those seasons that no one expected in Premier League history. I think if you looked at the start of the Premier League and you saw Manchester United and you saw, look, Eriksen is completely different to the Premier League. It's a different kettle of fish. It's a different style of play that the manager's going to influence at Man United Football Club. There's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of players in, a lot of players out. And unfortunately, some of those things I've said haven't happened. A lot of players haven't been brought in. A lot of players haven't been sold. A lot of players' contracts should have been terminated. A lot of deadwood still infests itself in the dressing room. There's still a lot of snakes in the weeds. There's still a lot of snakes in the grass. There's still a lot of deadwood players that get away with so much shit at this club that I think this season and this summer transfer window, this club has got to be brutal. It needs to be honest, and we've got to be fucking ruthless, because next season, I don't want to see players like Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Luke Shaw, Malacia, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, David De Gea, Tom Heaton, Jack Butland, Weghorst, McTominay, Fred, Elanga, Brandon Williams, Jadon Sancho. We need a lot better on the bench, and we need a lot better in the starting lineup. You look at that United team, we've basically had to rely on Antony, Casemiro, Eriksen, Sabitzer, Marcus Rashford, Lisandro Martinez. I think those 6 players this season have probably been the biggest standout of one of our best lot of players we've had in this football club's history. A lot of the players they've had around them, they had to get adapted to the system of Ten Hag, have had to get on with it and haven't delivered. And I think if you look at the 6 players I said who have been the standout best players, that all those 6 have looked at the rest of the team and they see weaknesses. And I think that's what has been Man United's biggest problem in this Premier League campaign. There's a lot of dead wood players in this team that are not up to the standards. They're not up to the tempo. They're not up to the style of play Ten Hag is looking for. And Ten Hag has had to mould them into the team to try and get them on board of the tactics, the style of play. He's had to bring in a lot of his own players, a lot of his own staff to get into this team to improve it. Because if we wouldn't have signed Eriksen, Casemiro, Antony, Lisandro Martinez, Marcel Sabitzer, I do not know where this club would have been this season without those 5 alone. The additions we made have been fantastic, but the biggest problem for me is I think this season fell off a cliff soon as that January transfer window slammed shut. When Ten Hag demanded strikers, the board said no, the owner said no, you've got to get on with it, we're selling the football club. No, you're not having no new permanent signings, no new permanent players. All you can do is loans. And that is where I think it all crashed and burned for Man United's title race. That is where it ended because they down-tooled. They let another manager down. They didn't invest in the team and basically told Ten Hag, we don't give a shit about you, the fans, the supporters. All we care about is the money in our back pockets. And if this season crash and burns, the problem would be on you and not on us. And I think that's the biggest problem. Ten Hag should have gone into the boardroom and demanded in his contract when he signed the job to be the new Man United manager, I want 500 to 600 million in the summer. I want then another 200 to 300 million in January. And then the summer after, I want another 500 to 600 million spending on this squad because that is what it's going to take to get results on the pitch, get Champions League football, trophies in the cabinet, because otherwise this club has got no ambition, no targets will be achieved, no targets will be hit, and you can moan at me as much as you want, but the bigger problem is the people above Ten Hag, the Glazers are muppets, they're clowns, they're mercenaries. Sell the club and fuck off home, because I tell you what, if they're still here in the summer and they don't sell the club and they get that rat in Sir Jim Ratcliffe on board, we're fucked. We are totally screwed next season before we've even kicked a ball. He's another Glazer. He wants to keep Joel and Avram Glazer at the club next season because he doesn't want to buy the club in full. And apparently the bid he's put in is more than the Qataris. It's a load of bullshit being made by the British media to fool the fan base, fool the supporters and get them on board with them. And the problem is we are not putting enough pressure on these owners. I think that's the only thing you can do. The only way you force these clowns out of this club is you have got to target the club every single day. You've got to target their sponsors. You've got to not spend money. Don't buy the shirts. Don't buy merchandise. Don't spend any money on the club whatsoever and let the club burn dry. Let the club dry up of money. Don't give in to the fools the Glazers have turned us into, because I think the fan base, I think have got, in some parts, some of it has got to take massive responsibility for buying the kit, for buying the shirts, for buying and watching games, renewing season tickets. I've had this shirt, right? My friend brought me this. I didn't even know they were doing it. And a massive shout out to my friend who brought me the kit. I told them no. I don't want anything to do with Man United this season in terms of merchandise or shirts. My friend got me this out as a surprise. So I didn't spend money. My friend did. I didn't ask them. They gave it to me as a surprise that I didn't even know about. But I've put my foot down this season and said, no, I am not wanting that club money being put into it, because the more money the Glazers want and the more money that gets put in from the supporters' point of view, from their pockets, this is where it all go wrong. And I think if you look at the Premier League squad we had this season, and like I said, the players we brought, if we didn't have them, we would have been a mess. But I think the players around them, Fernandes adapted to have Eriksen and Casemiro by him. Also Sabitzer. They also knew they had quality players like Antony up front and Sandra Martinez and Varane at the back. But I think, as a whole, that there are still 8 to 9, 10 positions in this team that massively need improving. We need 2 right backs. We need 2 left backs. We need 2 new centre backs. We need 2 world-class midfielders. We need 2 decent wingers. We need 2 strikers. We need a backup goalkeeper. We need about 13 to 16 players in the summer transfer window. If Chelsea can do it, so can Manchester United. Just don't believe the PR team on Twitter believing that this club needs to sell. Because if this club needed to sell, we'd probably be in administration, we'd probably be liquidated, and the club probably would have gone bust. Those 3 things haven't happened because we make too much revenue at the football club and we make too much profit, and season tickets are renewed every season by fans who are Glazer out but then still go and buy the shirts, buy the merchandise and renew their season tickets and go and watch home games as well as away games. If there's a true fan base out there of supporters as well that like and support Man United and love the club for what it is, Put your foot down and say no to temptation. Do not be tempted to spend money on this club. Let the club bleed dry. Don't give in to the Glazer temptation, because you'll become part of the Glazer problem, because you're putting money into the club and spending it, and the club gets it back, and then the Glazers, the leeches, they take it straight back out. And this is the problem. If they don't sell to the Qataris and Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in, goodbye next season. Because I'm telling you now, if Sir Jim just come in, I want him out already. I am not going to stand by a rat-looking Professor Yaddle from bloody Bagpuss as one of the Glazer in Muppets who keeps Joel and Avram Glazer on board. I do not want that, because the club will go backwards. We will end up outside the top 4, nowhere near Champions League. We'll get knocked out of the Champions League early on. We'll get knocked into Europa League, and we won't get qualification for it next season. For Champions League football, we'll finish outside top 4. And I tell you what, the season after that, goodbye Ten Hag, another interim, and then a new permanent manager all over again. The circle of life, the Lion King song, is back on in the background. We cannot let that happen. Ten Hag is the right manager, he's the correct manager, and he's the bloody decent manager we've had ever since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. He has been the best manager this club has had in fucking years. He's ruthless, he's brutal, and he doesn't take any shit. I would hate to have got on the wrong side of Ten Hag this season, because the hair dry impact is coming back in. Like, Ten Hag has brought back in the old style of what Sir Alex Ferguson used to do. There is no bullshit. There is no excuses from you. I do not accept failure. This club is here to win. We're here to win trophies. We're here to be in the Premier League titles. We're here to do what no one else can do. And that is what I love about Ten Hag. There was loads of people saying to me, oh, you wanted Pochettino. You wanted Brendan Rodgers. No, I actually didn't. I knew Ten Hag was the right one because I saw what he did at Ajax. And I don't see clubs like Spurs and Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool winning trophies. Did you win anything this season? No, you didn't. Because your managers flopped, your team all gave up, and your players basically down tools and failed to qualify for the Champions League at 2 clubs. One club ended up in the Banter Europa League, and one club won fuck all. So there's all 4 clubs didn't win anything. 2 of them didn't even get European football. One of them ended up in the Mickey Mouse Europa League, and one of them, who thought they had a great Amazon documentary, basically all for nothing, basically turned into a Matt Cardle song off his Letters album, because you won all for nothing, because you didn't win fuck all. And people saying, oh, Arteta's had a better season than Ten Hag. Look what Jurgen Klopp's done at Liverpool. Look at the transformation at Lampard at Chelsea. Look what Ryan Mason's done at Tottenham in his last game against Leeds today on match day 38 of the Premier League. Yeah, but did your teams finish above United? No. Did 2 of you clubs not get in Europe? Yeah. Did one club end up in Europa League? Yeah. And did one club think they were going to win this league title but bottled it again? Yeah. So you're telling me, Ten Hag isn't up for manager of the season. He isn't up for manager of the year. And basically they are favouring Arteta, Guardiola, Eddie Howe. I mean, come on. I mean, let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic that Ten Hag should have been up for several manager of the year this season. Should have been up for it. But the club basically said, no, we're not doing that. No, we're not going to do that. No, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve to be at the club. He shouldn't be managing Manchester United. He isn't good enough. And there's players like Andy Cohen to White York basically saying, oh, Ten Hag's not done a good enough job. What a load of bollocks. And UK Paul in the chat, hello, mate. Any news on Neymar? Do you know what? I won't be surprised if that ends up being one of the signings in the summer. I've also just subscribed to your YouTube channel, and I appreciate you for subscribing as well. Massively, massively appreciated. Neymar to United, it could happen. I wouldn't rule anything out of Man United. I mean, would you take Neymar with his injury record? Would you take him with his inconsistency with Brazil on international level? Or would you take him on based on his form for PSG when he's banging in goals every game? But the player I want from PSG is not Neymar. It's not Messi. It's Mbappe. I think if the Qataris come in, that's the player we need up front. But it wouldn't surprise me if United look at a deal like that in the summer. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that is what happens, Man United sign Neymar on a season-long loan deal to the end of the season, and then we then make it permanent. But I don't want Neymar at Man United. I do not think that is the right card to go down long term, because in a few years, if we make him a permanent signing, we spend a fuckload on his contract, we give him ridiculous wages, he then gets injured for Man United, misses half the season, and then 2 years after, Neymar's gone, Neymar is sold, and then that's another PR mistake again by Man United. But I think everything, at the end of the season now, it depends on the ownership. It depends now what happens regarding the side of this club. But I'm saying one thing now, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe buys his club and he keeps Avram and Joel Glazer, all I say is next season, hold on to your hats, because this could go pear-shaped very, very quickly, more than a pear of a piece of fruit. It could turn into turmoil if this club do not back this manager. Ten Hag deserves to be given a lifetime at Man United, because he's doing what Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, David Moyes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and what Ralph Rangnick couldn't. They couldn't transform this team into the team that we all were looking for, that we all wanted. Ten Hag has come in and has turned this club around so quickly in one season. Imagine what he could do in season 2 and then in season 3. Look at the way Ten Hag could make this Man United team look like. We could have Osimhen, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, Frankie de Jong, Rabiot, Mason Mount, Sabitzer, Kim Min-jae, new goalkeeper, new right back, new left back. This team, I'm telling you now, is going to look a lot different next season. A lot of the Deadwood players, I'm hoping, are going to be sold. But if the Glazers stay, it wouldn't surprise me now if at the end of this season, players like McTominay and Fred are given another chance. Maguire is kept over Lindelof. I don't think we should keep Lindelof anyway. I don't see the hype. I don't see all the importance he's offered for Man United recently in recent games. I think defensively he's very, very poor. He hasn't got much speed and agility going for him against a quick attacking player from the opposition team. I think players like Luke Shaw shouldn't have been given a brand new 4-year contract. I think that was a massive, massive mistake for Man United Football Club to do that. I think that was very, very poor management and very, very poor organisation to give an injury-prone left-back like Luke Shaw another deal, another contract to prove his worth at the club. And I think that was a complete and utter disgrace from a bigger point of view, that players like that shouldn't even be in the team when they're defensively poor, defensively inconsistent with injuries and health regarding their futures. And I think also players like Nook Fred both need to be sold. Take what you can get for them. I would sell Jadon Sancho. I would sell Alanga, Brandon Williams, Weghorst. I'm praying we do not make that permanent signing in the summer, because I think Weghorst as a permanent signing, I mean, he basically scored 2 goals in 18 to 19 games. And that, for me, was a joke. We should have went nowhere near that deal in the summer. We shouldn't have even have brought him in the first place. And we basically thought he was the answer to all of our goal-scoring problems. And if you look at that team today, that team looks a lot weaker without Eriksen in it, without Antony in it, without Lisandro Martinez in it. I think David De Gea's distribution and the amount of goals he has conceded this season, especially the amount of stakes I've seen from David De Gea in several Premier League games this season, not just in the league, but the cups as well. I think this team needs a rocket in the summer. This team needs a clear out of summer. It's like having a good clear out on the loo. We need a big, massive clear out to free up our bowel and make room for the rest, because otherwise you can get constipation, and that team will be constipated next season if half this Deadwood is crap. But I think today, we've won the game. We've got 3 points. We've made it 4 wins in a row in our last 4 games in a row in the league. Obviously beating Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, Chelsea and Fulham at home. We've scored 6 goals in our last 2 games, which is a lot better than what we were seeing recently. I think, the home record has now been beaten, 29 games at home, unbeaten now for Man United as a league record for Man United Football Club. And that's down to Ten Hag single-handedly for improving the home record. But I think next season, I don't think this squad will be able to cope with the intensity. I don't believe this squad will have the energy next season to go again. I think next season could go wrong quickly if, the Qataris don't come in. I think that's our saviour. is that the Qataris have to buy this club. I think that's the only answer to the problem. If the Qataris don't, then I dread what's going to happen if the Glazers stay. I dread what could happen. But do you know what? This season, I think we've got to all give ourselves a massive pat on the back. Every single Man United fan, every single Manchester United supporter, you should all be so proud of yourselves for what you've achieved this season, the support and the love and the dedication you've all given to each other. We've been there for each other through the ups, through the downs, through the twists, through the turns, through the thick times as well. It's just been one of those seasons that I think this Man United fan base is so reconnected again. It's like a boy band that have broken up and have got back together, and they're releasing new material, new music, and they're going to stay together forever again in the future. And obviously, UK Paul's put in the chat, I would keep Garnacho, sell De Gea, Elanga, McTominay, Weghorst, replacement Mason Mount, Harry Kane, Declan Rice. And you know what? It would be a traditional Man United thing if all three of those things happened. They sign Harry Kane, Declan Rice, and Mason Mount, but where's the money coming from? Because apparently Man United have got no money. But you speak a lot of sense, and that's what I like about you. I mean, you're a new subscriber, and I appreciate you subscribing. I also subscribe to your channel as a favour of appreciation, because as a Man United fan, you are hitting the nail on the head there. That it won't be a surprise if those three replacements that are brought. But that long-term ain't good enough either. There needs to be more than just Mason Mount. There needs to be more than Harry Kane. There needs to be more than Declan Rice. United have got to spend the money, I've said. That's the only way you're going to fix this. We need to aim higher and for better next season. I don't want to turn into Arsenal. I don't want to turn into a top four consistent team all the time. I actually want to win the Premier League again. I would like to win the Champions League again. And you know what? I would like to defend the Carabao Cup next season. And if we can win the FA Cup as well, 2 trophies in one season, we have to be proud of those players. We have to be proud of the squad. We have to be proud of the manager. And a big pat on the back, I think, goes to the fans and supporters. What make this club great. We stand by this club through everything. We support each other. We help each other. The love and support's there now. I think, Ten Hag has brought everyone back together this season. And I think that's what is my biggest love of this manager, is that the connection this season between the fans, supporters, manager, players and squad. There was a massive disconnect last season. It's like having a really good Wi-Fi provider in your house, but the connection is shit. And then that provider, you then change it for a better one, and then the connection is good. The green ping is brilliant, awesome. And then your connection to your games and your live streaming, if you're gaming, and your connection on the internet is brilliant. The connection now between every sector in this club is back to where it should be. The only disconnection now is up here. That is down to the Glazers. That's down to the board. We all need them sacked. The Glazers need to be removed. And if the Qataris come in, this club will get back to where it is today. But I think, the standout from today is that, we've ended this Premier League season in third place. I'll take that. We're back in the Champions League. We're back at Europe's elite competition. We're back in Europe's elite table. We finished third above Newcastle. European football is back, and we've still got an FA Cup final to look forward to. And I'm hoping it's going to go really, really well in that final. I mean, anything can happen, but I think we can take this game to Man City, especially the way Man United performed in their last 4 Premier League games. I mean, 2, 3, 7, 9 goals in our last 4 games. That's pretty good. And I think those players today deserve a massive pat on the back. And we've got to thank all of them for what they've done now, but we've still got a job to do. And that is to end this season next week by winning that FA Cup and lifting at Wembley. If we can do that, 2 trophies in one season, top 4 Champions League football in one season under a new manager in Erik Ten Hag, I think we've got to be very, very proud of that. So I hope you enjoy this reaction to the end of the Premier League season on match day 38. We've won 2-1 against Fulham at home at Old Trafford this evening to bring a curtain down at Old Trafford, bring a curtain down to the end of this Premier League season. It's had so many ups, so many downs, so many twists, turns. We've been through there thick and thin. It's been a roller coaster in every single section of this Premier League campaign for this football club. The fans and supporters, you're all amazing. I love all of you. You're all legends. You're all legendary. You make this football club what it is today. I think we've got to get behind them next week, because we've still got a job to do. We've got to win that FA Cup. Let's get 2 trophies in one season to end this season on such a positive note. Those players can do it. That squad can do it. And I know Ten Hag is going to deliver even more silverware at Man United Football Club next season as well. And UK Paul's put in the chat again. Replacement maybe Victor Osimhen, Neymar a long loan deal. Will Antony be back for next season because we need Antony and Lisandro Martinez as well? I don't think Man United will win. We could draw. Anything can happen. But do you know what? Let's hope now this is a sign of things done, because this club is officially back. This is a club rising from the ashes. This is a club that was so bad last season. It was pathetic. I mean, we were a mess, but now we are just a different kettle of fish now under Erik ten Hag. I did not expect this season. It's a shame its season has ended, but do you know what? We've still got one more game. One more game, and that's that FA Cup final next Saturday afternoon at Wembley Stadium. 3 p.m. away afternoon kickoff. BBC One and ITV are both showing the games live, so we can all watch the game together. We're all going to be there in spirit. For people who can't go to the game or can't attend it, we're all there fighting and standing by each other. Let's bring this home. Let's win the FA Cup. Go and bring those players and squad back with another trophy. And let's hope this season ends with a massive positive next week by winning the FA Cup. So I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Remember to hit the like button, share button. Please keep subscribing to the channel. United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Remember to share the video. Hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember, always put that notification bell on, all trying to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on the United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, FIFA 23 Crib, Rocket League. We've got live transfers right throughout the whole summer transfer window regarding any ins and any outs of Manchester United Football Club in this summer transfer window of 2023. We'll be doing the preview for the FA Cup final Wednesday afternoon. Please join me for that FA Cup final preview between Manchester City and Manchester United Wednesday afternoon. Join me for that preview. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Stay safe. Be nice. Be kind to each other. Massive shout out to all of you. You're all legends. You're all legendary. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will speak to you guys soon for the FA Cup final between Manchester City and Manchester United on Wednesday afternoon for FA Cup final preview. Thanks for watching. Come on, United. Come on, you Reds.